You're an actor, an entrepreneur, an investor, a brand ambassador, occasional singer, and soon mom-to-be. Man, how do you manage to get the time for all of this, and how do you find the balance?
Who's saying I'm balanced? I don't know. I think everything that you do with love just sort of takes away all the focus from what's not working to what's working. And it keeps you driven, it keeps you focused, and it keeps you satiated, which is, I think, the main purpose, right, in life. Like, you come on earth and, okay, now you have to live this life, so what do? You know, keep yourself hungry and then feed your soul and while away the time until it's time to say goodbye. It's very simple.
That's a rather spiritual, Alia.
I'm quite a spiritual person. Yeah.
Well, that's another tag added to all the things that you achieve. But, you know, because it's Forbes and because we're talking about your investment journey, etc., I just wanted to know, from the time you grew up to now, or rather growing up to now, what is your relationship with money been like? And now that you have a lot of it, by the way, Duff & Phelps estimates her brand value, to be $68.1 million. That's number 4th on that list. So what's your relationship with money been like, and how involved are you?
Well, when I was younger, of course, my relationship with money was restricted to the pocket money that I received from my mom, and which I would very carefully save up and then spend on some strange items. I remember once we went to London and we had only £200 for the whole trip to shop. And I went and I spent £170 in the first outing, because it was the first time I was going into such a large sort of shopping space with like so many brands. So I had no understanding of it. Even now, my mom handles my money. Okay. I'm not sure how much money I even have in my bank, to be very honest. But every now and then, I, of course, sit with my team, and they take me through the numbers. And I have a certain idea and a certain sense. But I know that my mother right now is handling my money very well. So my relationship with the money is to make it and then have my mother handle it.
How close is it to the Duff & Phelps number, $68 million?
I don't kiss and tell. I don't earn and speak.
No, just kidding. You know, when you meet your team, what is the brief that you give to them with regards to the financial decisions that they make for you?
I do not invest in businesses or stories that I don't understand. I think for me, the idea of investment is investing in a story, investing in a person, investing in a vision, something that I connect with, something that makes sense to me. Let's take Pool, for example. Yeah. You know, they're contributing to reducing waste in the country and also giving 100 women jobs on a daily basis. So I love that story. Investing in Nykaa, of course, was a no-brainer, but it was the story about it being founded by a woman. You know, the fact that India is now at that global platform doing what we do best, competing with the world at its best. So it's, for me, the story and the vision that I connect with, that I understand. That's where my investments lie.
And I have to ask you this. What came first, the idea of a children's wear brand or the name EDAMAMA? Because it's the cutest name I've heard in my life.
So actually, the way EDAMAMA happened was a byproduct of, actually, we were having a conversation of me starting out a clothing line of my own. Mm-hmm. And I was really thinking about it, and I was like, listen, I am not sure whether people really care about, like, they'll come and watch my movies, but just because I'm starting a clothing line doesn't mean they're going to come and buy it. So I just asked the team to do a bit of research and said, okay, let's find the gap in the market. And turns out there was a genuine gap for a strong, homegrown Indian kids wear clothing brand. And then I was, okay, fine, why don't we explore that? Of course, I had no idea about how much of a gap it was, but when the process began of researching and developing and putting that together, it was an eye-opener. And then came the brand name EDAMAMA, and it's an interesting story because my cat's name is Edward.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm his mama, So EDAMAMA. And at the end of the day, mothers are the ones that shop for their babies most of the time. Fathers do as well, I'm sure. But so it was like EDAMAMA, I am Ed's mama. And I was also working on like a children's storybook at that time of this young girl and her dog who go on these adventures. It was my way of sort of, nurturing a love in children for nature. Because that's something that I feel very passionate about, our environment, the awareness that we should have as people living on this planet, and a responsibility that we should bring to the table. And the best way to kind of cultivate that for the future is to instill those habits and that interest in a child. So it started off with a storytelling book, and then I just kind of merged that idea with the kids wear brand, and then came EDAMAMA.
You said that mothers are the ones who usually shop the most for their children. Is that going to be the case later as well?
Well, actually, that was the wrong thing for me to say, because it's also kind of sexist, because I think fathers shop as well. Even in my case, I've done a bit of shopping, and so has my husband. But yeah, I think because I'm the mama, I was like EDAMAMA, so put me in there somewhere.
I take that point. Have you guys decided on who's going to share the responsibilities and what responsibilities come whose way?
I think the journey of discovery will begin once the baby comes. But definitely the intention is to share. That's most important. And Ranbir is very happy. Like, he's already been like, maybe you work from whatever, this month onwards, I'll take time off so you can go to work, and then I can come back, and then you can take time off, and then we just keep taking time off. And he's very happy to share that responsibility. And he, in fact, recently said in an interview that I think I have a very big responsibility on my head, and that is to send Alia back to work, because the movies would really complain and hold me responsible if I don't do my bit as the parent as well.
At this point, I'd like you guys to actually give a huge round of applause for Alia's philosophy, so to say, because she was talking about the business, the numbers, etc. And she constantly mentioned about her mother handling her finances and her research team finding gaps, etc. for her. And what that means is that she focuses on her strengths and lets the others do, what they're good at. That's perfect teamwork. And that brings me to the question about endorsements, etc. How do you decide what brand to take on? Is it just the money? Is it the philosophy? Have you ever said no to brands that offered a lot of money?
It's the values. It has to make sense. It has to match. Like, at the end of the day, I will not wear an outfit also that I feel is not going with my personality. So why would I endorse a brand that I don't believe in, or that I don't feel like, okay, I would make sense being the face of? So yeah, I think it has to be a relationship that works both ways. If the brand believes in me, I need to believe in the brand. And that's the only way an authentic collaboration is possible. And if it's not authentic, people smell it, and then then it just kind of goes down the drain. So there's no point if you don't actually see a fit there.
Are there categories that you would never endorse? Never say never, but I mean, you would avoid endorsing?
I'm sure.
What would they be?
They are for me to know and you to find out.
Okay. Then what brought you into production? I mean, what was the thought behind producing content?
Well, it started off with a film like Darlings that came to me.
A phenomenal film, by the way. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And what started off is maybe a bit of a mathematical calculation, being like, okay, I wouldn't want to load the production of the film, so I'll charge a lesser fee, and I'll take a back end on the film, and etc., and all of that. But actually, what I realized by that time was that I was getting way more interested in what happens behind the camera and what it takes to make a movie. 10 years into the industry, I have had my first film as a producer out, and I feel even now the understanding that I have gathered on making a film like Darlings has been so substantial, and I'm always learning. That's my motto, always continuously learn, continuously grow, always ask the questions, because you don't have all the answers. No one has all the answers. Even Bill Gates doesn't have the answers.
That's exactly why I said you guys should clap. Always learning, always asking questions, always delegating it to the experts.
So you don't have to constantly make them forcefully clap for me if they don't really feel like clapping for me.
Well, I mean, you got it.
I'm just kidding. So I think that's where it came from, that, okay, yes, this is seeming financially the right thing to do, but it's also seeming the right thing to do for me as a creative individual 10 years into the industry. I mean, at that time it was 8 years, but still. And then began the process, and it's something that I've had such a lovely, fun experience doing, and now the endeavor is to, I'm still a boutique production house. It's not like I'm going to be churning out content, but I will set out a certain goal, like, okay, I would like to develop a show, a movie, a podcast, whatever it is. I want to put out content that I think connects, has an emotional core, which is extremely high, and yeah, and I want to be a part of the filmmaking process behind the camera and not just in front of the camera.
That always makes you a better artist in front of the camera as well, if you know what's going on behind it. Final, business-related question, so to say. What are the future plans? I mean, you've invested in Foolco, there is EDAMAMA, there are all the other investments that you have, etc. Is there any particular category that you're looking at?
I think what I'll continue to do is look for the gaps and try and fill them. Like, as simple as today I launched maternity.
Maternity. Okay.
So exactly, what started off as a gap in my wardrobe turned out to be a whole maternity line. And in fact, even today I'm wearing my own maternity line because these are really comfy lounge pants. Okay, they're really comfy.
What's the brand?
EDAMAMA.
Okay.
Maternity wear. So this is like my lounge pant and like a lounge set, but the lounge layer was not making any sense. It was looking like I was coming to lounge at the Forbes event, so I paired it up with this blazer, which is not mine.
Okay.
But basically, that's what I discovered, is that the maternity wear, which I was seeing, was just all, it had a certain style, which was just like screaming maternity. I was like, okay, I want to bring my own style into it, which is what I did. So that has been one of the exciting things.
Just out of curiosity, have you dabbled in sneaker investing? Because I see Aman out here, he's wearing Travis Fragment lows. I've pulled out my heats for you.
I think that's something my husband will be very good at. I don't understand sneakers.
How many pairs does he have?
I think about 50.
That's it?
Or maybe 150, I'm not sure. I try not to look at his shoe wardrobe. It gives me anxiety.
I know that. So, final questions, a set of questions. We call it the quick fire questions because it is the season. And no, I'm not going to ask you to rate actors in order of preference, etc., whatever. A financial decision that you're extremely proud of.
EDAMAMA. It's my own money.
Your biggest loss-making financial decision.
My biggest loss-making financial
Or your worst financial decision, let's put it that way.
Can I say no such thing for now?
Wow, that's 100% success rate. And a financial mistake you would advise people entering, the field of acting or your profession, you would ask them to avoid, something that you learned much earlier.
Don't undervalue yourself, but also don't overvalue yourself.
Between Ranbir and you, who saves more money?
Both of us are very good. We're good. We don't spend that much money, to be very honest.
And your share expenses on?
Our house.
And the final question, this one is basically my own, which is from the 4 films of yours, which I love the music of, among all the others, there is Mahi Way from Highway, there is Main Tenu Samjhawa, there is Bolna from Kapoor and Sons, and there is Kesariya. Which is the one which you're going to sing today?
Do I have to sing?
It's a Forbes event, come on.
Okay, I'll sing Kesariya since that just is the film that just released.
All right.
And it's still in the theaters.
Yes.
Kesariya tera ishq hai piya, rang jaऊं jo main हाथ लगाऊं, दिन बीते सारा तेरी फिक्र में, रैन सारी तेरी खैर मनाऊं.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was Alia Bhatt.